What is going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Let me get my mic straight here this morning. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I'm your man, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. C. Marie B. So glad that you're here this morning. Angelique556. So glad that you're here. Choices, Bakes, and more. Hey, S. Dodsy. So glad that you're here on Instagram. All my people. So glad that you're here on this Monday morning. Welcome to the Mindset Movement. Hey, what's one thing that you're measuring in your life right now? What are you measuring in your life right now? Health, finances, goals. We're live, fam. Do me a favor. What's your intention for the week? Drop your intention in the chat. Sean Michael, so glad that you're here, my friend. So glad to see you. What is your one thing? Tone.com, so glad you're here. What's your one intention for this week? Drop that in the chat. What's your focus? What will you do? Who will you be? Hey, as we get ready to move forward this morning, if you want to join the Mindset Movement, text live, not Mindset Movement, the Mind Shift Monday, text live to 240-557-8679. You'll know when we're going live for the show. It's time to shift your mind. It's time to change your story. I'm going to share my thoughts for about 15 to 30 minutes. And then after the show, after the live stream, join me for the Level Up. Yes, you and some other business owners can come on in and chat with me and hang on Zoom for just a bit. Join us. Go to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom after the show. All right. Listen, y'all, it's time to get rocking and rolling for this thing. Let's do it. What's up? What's up? I like it. I'm looking at some of the intentions in the chat. Tone.com says, my intention is consistency. Oh, yeah. Sean Michael says, my intention is to bring my light to the world, to reach at least 3 connections, to offer deep coaching, to transform the heck out of their lives. Yes. Let's do it. Welcome to the Monday. I'm getting this mixed up. We're changing the name of the show and I keep messing up. It's Mind Shift Monday. Hey, you don't need permission to walk in purpose. Confidence is a choice. Listen, I love it. Let's walk into this session today. Hey, we're going to talk about a couple of things, but before we jump in, I want to remind you about a couple of items. We've got the Amplify Voice and Video Intensive. It says August 27th and 28th, but we've shifted the dates at September 3rd and 4th. So if you want to find out more about the Amplify Voice and Video 2-day intensive, how you can get on stage and on camera with confidence, create some content, create some stuff that's going to make a difference for your life and your business, join us for that Amplify Voice and Video 2-day intensive. Head on over to amplifyvoiceandvideo.com and you can get more information there. All right. And then again, after the show, after the live stream, join me for the Mind Shift Monday Level Up. Head on over to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom and you'll get to join us. All right. Listen, let's jump on into the show. What are you measuring? What's your score? Are you intentional about your score or are you accidental about it? What is your story and what is your action? What are you doing? So I read a story the other day about a basketball game. This was a championship game and it had happened. This game was happening after a storm, after a pretty big storm in a city. And this game was between 2 rival teams. And after the storm, this was a way to really bring the community back together. So everybody was excited. Everybody was super excited. They go into the gym where this basketball game is is being played, and the energy is on electric. The energy is on 50, okay, 100, 150. Energy was off the charts. So this game starts. Ramon Ray, hey, good to see you. So this game starts, and the excitement in the stands is palatable. Every basket that goes in, swish, everybody cheers. And they keep on doing this. Every good play, every steal, every dribble, every fancy movement that happened, the crowd just went crazy. The crowd went wild. This happened for 10 minutes. It happened for 15 minutes. It happened for 20 minutes. But after a little while, the energy started to shift. The energy started to change. The energy started to dip. And people started to wonder why. I mean, the energy at the beginning of this game was just so crazy. It was off the charts. But about halfway through this game, the energy started to shift. And after a while, the players were running up and down the court. They were scoring baskets, and they were trading baskets back and forth. But it just seemed like there was not enough energy in the stands. The energy went from this crazy hype at the beginning to now just being average, just being regular. What happened? Why did the energy shift in this game? Well, you see, they had bad weather recently. There was a storm, and the storm glitched and cut out a lot of the electrical equipment. And at this game, there was no scoreboard. So the fans were watching the game, and the energy was up at the beginning. But by the time it got to about the third quarter, they had no idea what the score was. So they didn't know how much they should be cheering for their team to come back, to win, to keep up, to be even. They didn't know what the score was. And yeah, there was some play announcers, or there were scorekeepers at the tables, but no one was informing the fans of the score. And so they didn't have any way to know what to cheer for. Right? And so the idea about this story, or the idea in life, is if we don't know what the score is, or if we don't know where things stand, then it's pretty hard to keep your momentum and your energy up. My kids used to play in church league, right? In church league basketball, and we were able to mimic this situation a little bit. There was always energy at the beginning. They introduced the players, and everybody said, "Yay!" And they started screaming, and all of these different things happened. And then partway through the game, things changed, because in church league, they didn't have the big scoreboard on the wall. They had this little scoreboard at the table, and sometimes the scoreboard would be facing the floor and not the fans. So the fans didn't know the score. So every once in a while, you'd have somebody run down to the floor to see if they could get the score for the rest of the team, the rest of the audience. Right? And so if they're not able to see the scoreboard, it's pretty hard to remain excited about the game. How many times have you wanted to do something? How many times have you started to do something, got excited about it, but then your excitement dwindled? Quite often we lose momentum because we truly don't understand the score. Good morning, Udine. Good morning, Dorian. How you doing this morning? Good to see you all on Instagram. Quite often we lose momentum because we don't truly understand the score. You're exercising. I want you to think about this. You're exercising and you miss a day. You've done your exercise for 20 days, and then you miss a day. And then you miss 2 days. And then you miss 3 days. And after 3 days, you kind of throw your hands up and you just stop doing some things, and you give up, because you haven't looked at the score over time, and you haven't realized how much you've actually won. You see, desire creates a dream, but data creates direction. I want you to remember that. Desire creates a dream. When you want something, you can think about it and get excited about it. But data creates direction. It gives you something to go after. I remember several years ago, I did something called the 12-week year. There was this book by Brian L. Moran that was the focus of the book was that if you focused on one thing every day for 12 weeks, you would get more done in that 12 weeks than most people get done in a year. Go check that book out on Amazon. Go check that book out if you've never seen it. So it's called the 12-week year. And so I decided, as I do normally, whenever I'm going to do something, I don't just do it on my own. I invite others to join me on that journey. And so I said to everybody, hey, listen, I'm going to be doing this thing called the 12-week year. Let's go through it together. And I decided that my goal was I wanted to write every day for 12 weeks. I wanted to write blog content. I wanted to write whatever it was. I wanted to write every day for 12 weeks. And so we get in this Facebook group and everybody chooses their goal. I decide I'm going to write, and I'm writing at least 500 words. I don't remember what it was. I write posts. I write all sorts of stuff, and I'm doing this every day. And I get to about 3 weeks and something happens and I miss a day. But the next day I decided, okay, yes, listen, let me get back on. And I jump back in and I continue to write, and I write for about 10 more days and I miss a day. And then I jump back on and I write for about 8 more days and I miss a day. And then I miss 2 days. Now, at this point, I could be discouraged. I could say, oh my gosh, I missed some days. It doesn't make sense for me to keep on going. Oh, and this is what happens, right? We get down on ourselves. We miss a little bit. And so, and we pause, and something happens inside of us that's like, oh my gosh, you missed. And so, right, it's that resistance. It's that little demon that comes up inside of you when something is happening and you take a misstep. It wants you to quit. It wants you to stop. It wants you to pause. It wants you to break the momentum. And so I wrote all of these days, but I missed 2. And then I said, oh my gosh, I'm failing at this. But you know what? I decided that I was just going to push through, and I pushed through, and I pushed through, and I pushed through. And at the end of 12 weeks, 2 things happened. Number 1, I had written, of the 90 days that we were tracking, I had written for 81 of them. So I had written for 81 out of 90 days. Those 81 days that I wrote every day, of those 90 days, for those 81 days that I wrote, that equaled more content than I had written in the past 2 years combined. Right? That equaled more content than I'd written in the past 2 years combined. And so when you have scores, or when you have metrics, it's able to give you a greater picture of what you've actually accomplished. And it's so easy for us to get off track. But are you keeping track? Are you counting? Are you measuring? What's your score? For those of you that don't know, I do some work on a contract with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And one of the modules, as a matter of fact, the very first module is something called Module 1, and it's talking about you and your business. And so there's this question that it asks. It says, "What's your dashboard?" And there are 3 areas. It says your business, the environment, and you. Your business, your environment, and you. So when it talks about your business, what is your dashboard? What are you measuring in your business? Are you measuring money? Are you measuring the procedures? Are you measuring the sales? Are you measuring the marketing? What is it that you're measuring? All right. Tyran Jackson official, good to see you this morning. Amalia Gardner, good to see you this morning. All right. So that's number one. Second thing it's asking about, are you measuring your environment, the economy, the weather, what's happening with your team? But the third thing that it asks is, what is your dashboard for you? If you're growing a business, if you're growing a moving towards a goal, if you're doing something, are you measuring you? What are your metrics for you? So when we talk about metrics, a lot of times people default to it's exercise. Okay, yep, I'm exercising 5 out of 7 days. Cool. But what else are you tracking for you? Are you tracking your mental health? Days on versus days off. And oh my gosh, we've got about 365 days in the year. If you're in corporate, you may get 10 days or 2 weeks off. If you're in business, you may get less than that. But the question is, are you tracking it? Are you taking stock? Are you keeping a metric for your mental health? All right. Are you exercising, or what are you doing for your mental health? What are you doing for your relationships? Is there something that you are using to keep track in your relationships? And that relationship, that might be, okay, how often am I engaging with my friends? How often am I seeking conversations with mentors? How often am I looking for information or looking for opportunities to connect with my kids? How often am I looking for or creating opportunities to connect with people in my community? Do you have a relationship metric on your dashboard? Gotta track it, because here's the deal. Success isn't accidental, it's accounted for. Success is not accidental, it's accounted for. Now, some people might argue and say, you know what, we track too many doggone things. We track too many things. I got this thing on my wrist, this Apple Watch, and it tracks my heart rate. It tracks my steps. It tracks how many minutes I exercised for that specific day. It tracks how often I stand up and sit down. And it tracks so many other things. And we track a lot of things in our lives. But are we tracking the things that that matter? Are we tracking the things that we are setting goals for? Are we tracking the things that we want to be intentional about? Right? Amalia says, I need to do a better job of keeping track and being intentional about what I'm measuring. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of us. Right. And some people say that we track too many things. But here's the deal. I track stuff on my Apple Watch, but it doesn't mean I'm intentional about tracking everything. It's being counted. But I don't have a goal of standing up and sitting down a certain number of times during the day. So that's just something that's being tracked without intention. Right? I don't always have the goal every single day of exercising 30 minutes. It's being tracked. I don't always track all of my calories. Yeah, I love that. Tyran Jackson says, what gets measured gets managed. All right. But tracking your life doesn't mean over controlling. Tracking your life instead means owning your progress. When you know your numbers, you know what moves to make next. And it's why we go to the doctor, right? We go to the doctor. Hopefully you're going to the doctor, and we go to the doctor to measure our A1C levels, our hemoglobin levels, our white blood cell count. We go to the doctor to measure things so that we know what to do next. So what's your score? What's your score? I want to walk through. So we are moving on our time here. And if you want to go deeper, don't forget, join me for the Mindshift Monday Level Up on Zoom. Okay, not in the comments. You get in the Zoom room with me and other business owners in just about 7 or 8 minutes. Go to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. Hey, Bill, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. So here's the three things that I want to leave you with. 3 steps for transformation that I want to leave you with this week. Number 1, pick your pillars. Pick your pillars. I want you to choose 3 areas this week that you are going to track. Maybe you want to track your mindset, and that might be, okay, how many I'm going to listen to 5 pieces of content this week that are geared towards improving my mindset. Okay, that's my goal, and I'm going to track that. Maybe it's money. Okay, this week I'm going to save $50 instead of going to Starbucks every day. I'm going to make my own matcha or lattes or frappuccinos at home and save that money. Okay, so I'm going to save $50 this week. Maybe it's your movement. Okay, yep, got this. Maybe it's your mission. Do you have a mission that you live by, and are you tracking how you are living into that mission? Ooh, yeah. Right, because, and let me pause there for just a second, because so many of us live by accident. But if you have a vision, if you have a mission, it's not just this thing that you stick up on the wall and you walk by it every day. Is there something actionable? Is there something metrical? Is there something measurable that you can track inside of that mission, so you know that you are intentionally walking towards that mission daily? Okay, so choose 3 areas. Pick your pillars. Choose 3 areas that you want to track this week. Go ahead. If you want to drop some of those areas in the chat, I'd love to see a few of them before we end the show here. We got 5 minutes. Oh, let's go. All right. Number 2, I want you to set a simple metric. I want you to choose 3 areas to track, and then I want you to set a simple metric. Define a clear, easy to measure stat for each of those metrics. It might be how many pages you read this week. It might be how many dollars you saved. It might be how many calls you made. Man, in business, if you are not making calls, if you are not reaching out, if you are not developing relationships, there is absolutely no way. Well, that's not the truth. I shouldn't speak in hyperbole, right? It minimizes the opportunities for your business to grow. Right? So what is your easy to measure, clear metric or statistic for each of these pillars? Third, transformational strategy I want you to implement this week is review every Friday. I want you to set a 10-minute weekly check-in where you can celebrate, adjust, and then repeat. Set a 10-minute weekly check-in where you can celebrate, adjust, and repeat. Dorian says, how many warm and cold calls and emails? Absolutely. Okay. Not just how many, but set a number towards that. Okay. I'm going to do 20 this week. Did I measure up to the 20? Did I reach the 20? How many of the 20 did I do? Right? Because here's what happens. And I want to clarify this for us a little bit, Dorian. So if we say, I'm going to track how many I did, I'm going to track how many sit-ups I did. Now, if I'm on this thing where I'm saying, okay, I want to see how many sit-ups I can do in a minute. That way I have a metric I can measure, or I see a bar that I can reach towards. That's one thing. But if I say, I'm just going to do as many sit-ups, I'm just going to do sit-ups, and then I'm just going to count them. How do I know whether I'm closing in on my goal or I'm growing in a specific area? So we want to figure out what is the target, and then track how we moved towards that target. Right? So yes, how many cold calls and warm emails, etc. I want to do 10 of these. I want to do 20 of these. So again, pick your pillars this week, set your simple metric, and then set a time, a meeting schedule on your calendar to review it. Okay. And when I say review it, not just to beat yourself up, but to celebrate. If you got 8 out of 10 done, yes, 8 out of 10, that's celebration worthy. It's celebration worthy. So I'm going to celebrate, adjust, and then repeat. Okay. I'm going to celebrate, adjust, and then repeat. Listen, y'all, you were created to grow. You were created for growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. You were created to grow, but growth isn't random. It's revealed through rhythm and reflection. And guess what rhythm is? Rhythm is a metric. Rhythm is measured. Rhythm is tracked. Growth isn't random. It's revealed through rhythm and reflection. So before we launch into a powerful Monday, I want to share a couple of things really quickly. Number one, join us in the Amplify community. You can head over to mindshiftmonday.com and you'll see the button there. Second thing that I want to share with you is join us for the Amplify Voice and Video 2-day intensive in Washington, D.C. Not the dates on the screen. It's going to be September 3rd and 4th. So go to amplifyvoiceandvideo.com to get some information about that. And in just a couple of moments here, join me for the level up by going to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. Okay. Go join me for the level up by going to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. Okay. Where's my camera? I lost myself. Okay. I should be. There we go. Bam. All right. Join me by going to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. Hey, y'all, how can you turn your day from reaction into creation? James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, writes on his blog, you can't measure love, but you can track different ways that you're showing up with love in your life. He says, measurement isn't always about the result. Measure to see if you're showing up. Measure to see if you're actually spending time on the things that are important to you. So what's important to you? And in those areas, what's your score? If you want to know when we are live next, text live to 240-557-8679. Don't forget to share the show. Boom, share the show. And join me next week, Monday, for the next Monday, not Monday Mindset Movement, the Mind Shift Monday. Until we meet again, my friends, track it, tweak it, transform it. Or, as I always say, change your thoughts, change your world, change your story. Let's go. Don't forget to join me. Go to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. We're about to hit the level up. Let's go.